Mahatma Gandhi once said that an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And great reminder, especially for anyone who might be struggling with a cycle of pain and suffering caused or passed on from another person, where we've been hurt so much, and our initial instinct is always to retaliate back, to hurt that person back. And I get it, it might feel so justified and satisfying at the moment of you retaliating. The truth is, retaliation actually does not heal or release that situation. Instead, it deepens that wound and gets you sucked into a cycle of pain and suffering that actually never stops. Hi, my name is Eva, and today I'm going to be talking about breaking this cycle of pain through forgiveness, through divine love. If you want to know more on this, make sure you watch the entire video. And at the very end, I'm going to be sharing with you two powerful techniques that will be a game changer for in your healing and growth and transformation, and truly tapping into releasing all these hurts and pain and suffering from the past. So again, if you want to know more about this, make sure you watch this video until the end. I'm an intuitive healer. I do work with two modalities, one which is based on working with the Akashic records. It's called flow alignment. And the second modality is called quantum flow, which is all about rewiring your body at the nervous system level, helping you release deep-seated wounds and trauma that you carried all the way from actual childhood, from your birth. And you might not even know how these patterns might actually be deeply impacting how you show up in the world. So again, I'm going to be sharing more on this at the end of this video. So I love starting my videos by sharing my lesson for the week. And I love for you to share yours. How have you grown in the last week? Do share in the comments because you never know what one sentence, one word you can actually share that can deeply impact someone else. So do share your thoughts. How have you grown? What new insights have you learned in the last week? My insight for this week, which ties into what I'm going to be talking about, is about self-forgiveness. You know, those moments when you just mess up and that tiny voice in your head just goes like on attack mode on you, and how could you just fail in such a spectacular manner? And I'm sure if you're watching this, you resonate with that. There's always that judgmental voice in your mind anytime you mess up. And one of my greatest lessons this week has been to not listen to that voice or even allow it to take root, and truly show love and compassion for myself moment to moment, regardless of how mess messy things have become or whatever mess I've done. Because I find that the more you allow this voice to really take hold of your mind, the more it gets you stuck in feeling shame and guilt, and it actually counteracts whatever positive thing that you might actually try to do to fix that mess, because it will keep you in that feeling of shame and guilt to the point that you even lack the will to do anything to change that situation. So if you truly want to move forward with your life, I will ask you that regardless of what has happened in the past, and yes, the past does even include the last 1 minute, the last 1 second, it does not matter. As long as the action or the word that you've said is already been done, that's done. That's part of the past. But I want you to remember that you no longer have to be that person. And that can change at this present moment that you're watching me. You can choose at this present moment, you know what, I'm not going to repeat that mistake of the past because I'm no longer that person. And the best way to do this is truly showing yourself self-forgiveness, self-compassion, regardless of all the mistakes you made in the past, because this is the only energy or the only mindset that will allow you to move forward. And again, release the shame and the guilt. There's little you can do about what has already been done, but you can change so much about what you're going to be doing going forward and whatever you create going forward based on what you're doing now. So remember, the present moment is all that matters. So let go, forgive your past, focus on the now so that you can actually shift your entire paradigm and create a reality that truly serves your highest being. That was my lesson for the week. And I love to know your thoughts on this. Does this resonate? Does it spark something in you? Do share in the comments down below. So today we're going to be talking about breaking the cycle of pain. And let's just look even at the current world state with the wars that are happening around. And some of these wars, especially the warring parties, these are parties that have been fighting for decades. way before that, some of us were born, maybe basically things that have been carried on from generation to generation. And I just got myself thinking, at what point does this cycle actually get to stop? Because every side is justified in the heart and the pain and the suffering that they're carrying. And I'm in no way trying to deem that in any way or demean that in any way because I recognize that pain and I recognize that suffering. And to be honest, it's really not fair because the worst thing that when it comes to war is that usually a lot of innocent people suffer the consequences of that. And again, I ask the question, when does this cycle stop? Because it's not by hurting the other person, even bigger than they had you, just to make sure that they feel the kind of pain that you're feeling. And leave alone even the things that are happening in the world, the whole world. Let's go to you and your personal life. Maybe that person who betrayed you in the past will be a painful breakup that you might not realize you might be carrying the memory of that in your future relationship. Because someone hurt you, then it means it interferes with how you interact with other people. You can't allow yourself to fully love another person, fully trust another person, fully let your heart be healed by the love of another person just because one person in your entire cycle of life broke your heart. And we carry these patterns with us, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. Sometimes you get so hurt by someone, you make that decision that, you know what, I am never going to love again. And I'm going to make sure that everyone I meet gets to feel this pain for the rest of my life. And yes, it feels satisfying because it kind of assuages that egoic part of yourself that is like, okay, now yes, I hurt that person, so yes, they're feeling that pain. But it doesn't also take away your pain. It might relieve it for a moment, but then you wake up the following day and that pain, that suffering, it's still lingering on because you're still stuck in that cycle of pain and suffering. So again, and I'll keep asking you in this video, when does this cycle stop? It could be even when it comes to work. I'm sure you've encountered those environments where probably a supervisor, a boss wakes up at the wrong side of the bed and decides that, you know what, because today I woke up or something happened that really triggered me to be in a bad mood, I'm going to make sure I pass this along to every person I meet. So this is the person who will be screaming at you at the workspace and just making your whole day horrible just because they woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And yes, is that fair? For you who's experiencing that, no. For the person who's causing that pain, they're just projecting that instead of dealing with the pain and the suffering inside of themselves, they're choosing to project to another and spread the suffering all along. And the worst thing about this kind of situations is that it now creates another cycle and another cycle of pain and another path of pain for this person. Because now that you've had this person is then going to make that decision of, you know what, now that my boss screamed at me, I'm going to go and scream at my family or my wife or my spouse or whatever. I'm going to go and pass it along, or I'm going to scream at the person who happens to piss me off at the road or at a queue or something. And then it just gets passed on and on and on and on. And before you know it, like it's all over the world. Okay, now I'm just saying, maybe not actually, but so many things that we do, we have no idea how impactful they are to the next person. For you, it might seem like I'm just, projecting just for now. I'm just screaming to make myself feel better. But you don't know what that one word or one action can actually do to another person and how it can actually heavily impact them. So be careful with this, with the words you say to another person, with the actions you do to another person, especially those ones driven by coming from a place of pain and suffering. Be very careful because you never know how that person is going to take it. Because usually the mindset that people go with in certain situation is that the other person probably can handle it or something, but you really, really do not know that. Maybe that person is also dealing with their own pain and their own trauma, and you could trigger such a cycle or such a painful wound for themselves that they might not be able to escape from. Do you really want to be responsible for that? And yeah, maybe right now you might say, doesn't matter. I mean, this is just someone I saw passing on the streets, so who cares about what happens in their life? But everything in this world, whether you realize it or not, is actually deeply connected. And one of the fundamental laws of this universe that I'm going to be sharing with you today is that everything you put out in the world always comes back to you. So be very careful with the words and the actions or whatever you're doing to another, because that same energy is probably going to come back to you. I've read for clients, Akashic records for certain clients, certain mistakes that they made lifetimes ago, 10 lifetimes ago. They're experiencing the consequences of those negative actions right now. So you might actually do that thing to that person and thinking that, you know what, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to feel the effects of that. Yes, but please don't forget that the universe does keep a record of everything. And I'm not saying that the whole point of existence is to be punished for any wrong that we do. But again, the fundamental laws of the universe that allow for us to coexist together is that all the energy you put out, you always get back. Because without these fundamental laws, like imagine what will happen. People will just be waking up every day, robbing each other, stealing from each other, and doing all sorts of things. And you know what humanity is capable of. If there were no checks and balances in between, we will literally not have this world we're living in right now. So for that restraint to come along, it's probably because someone has a memory of something that they did in the past where maybe they hurt another person or something happened in that situation that really created negative consequences. And for most of us, again, whether we're conscious of it or not, because we learned our lesson in the past, we don't find ourselves repeating the same mistake. But mark my words, again, everything you put out into the world, you always get back. Most people assume that just because I'm not receiving the consequences for that in this lifetime, then I'm good. Yeah, but your soul has been in existence for eternity. It never stops existing. And I know you might not, maybe you might be hearing these words and thinking that I'm speaking foreign, something, too woo-woo. And that's well and good. Don't attach so much to that. I just want you to remember this. Everything you put out in the world always comes back to you, whether in this lifetime or in another lifetime, it does not matter, because the checks and imbalances of the universe always have to be in place so that you can fully learn the lesson, not to press on the heart that you have to another person, because you will not want them to experience what you're feeling right now. And I wish this is the kind of mindset that we went with into the world. That just because I'm hurt does not mean I have to pass this hurt on to another person. So how do you break the cycle of pain? Is by choosing and making that conscious choice that it ends with me. I'm not going to go and hurt the next person I get into a relationship with just because someone I dealt with years ago hurt me or broke my heart. I'm going to choose to take the right amount of time for me to truly heal myself so that when I'm getting into that next partnership, I'm coming whole and complete and not coming with all of these things mixed up from past hurts and past pain and carrying it and causing now another cycle of pain for another person. That's really not fair. So you want this cycle to end? It has to start with you. You taking personal responsibility and saying, I'm choosing not to pass this hurt on to another person. And again, what you put out in the world, you always get back. So if you're putting out divine love, guess what? Eventually that love is going to circle back to you. But if you keep on putting out hate and pain to other people and thinking that I'm just making myself feel better at this moment, that pain is always going to be coming back to you in other forms, probably even more painful than what you experienced in the past. Do you really want that for yourself? The answer to that is no. Then you have to start now and just say, you know what? Again, it ends with me. This cycle breaks with me. Just because you woke up at the wrong side of the bed does not mean that every other person that you encounter in that day has to feel that pain. Choose to heal come back into balance with yourself before you interact with another person. Or better yet, if you know you're not in a space to interact with other people, how about you just seclude yourself? Because we are allowed to be in our feelings. I mean, we are human at the end of it all. So, of course, there are days we wake up and you're just like, everyone goes through that. So, rather than you passing it on along to another person who probably woke up and having a best day of their life, rather than messing that up, why not just take yourself out of that equation and go do whatever you need to do to come back into balance before you interact with the world again? Don't speak, hold it. I want to say hold it in, but yeah, don't pass it on to the next person. And I know it's hard. Again, it takes practice, like everything else, especially if it's not something that you're used to doing. You're not gonna get it the first time round, but just make that conscious choice that if I'm hurt, I don't need to pass that along. And keep doing that over and over again and choosing the higher road, regardless of how hard it is. And eventually, that is gonna be rewarded by you receiving more of the things that actually support your highest being, the people, the circumstances, the situation that support your highest being, because that is the vibration you're putting out into the universe. So let me know your thoughts on this and how do you think we can actually go about breaking the cycle? What are your thoughts on this? How would you go about breaking the cycle of pain in your life? Do share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and also click on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any time I share content out here. I'm here to just serve you and help you be the best version of you possible in this lifetime and truly, truly help you awaken to your full potential because I believe in you and I believe the highest potential is possible for each and every one of us. I did promise I was going to share at the end of this video a beautiful, beautiful program that I launched this year called my Spiritual Mastery Program that is all about really helping you break through all the pain, all the cycles of suffering, all the cycles of constant negative karmic experiences that you've been carrying from lifetime to lifetime. And maybe you don't believe in that. Let's go with that you've been carrying from age to age, all the way from childhood, all the pain from your past childhood memories, the trauma, the emotional wounds that you're carrying on right now and are causing you to attract people and circumstances over and over again who trigger these emotional wounds because you haven't truly healed and released this pain from within your system. With this spiritual mastery program, we're really going to be addressing all this and so much more, really helping you to clear all of these cycles of pain and suffering from yourself, helping you to truly get to the root cause of why do these cycles keep repeating in my life? Why do I keep attracting the same kind of people, the same kind of circumstances that only cause me grief over and over again? There is a reason behind this. In the spiritual mastery program, we're going to be addressing this, helping you get to the root cause, helping you energetically release all of this pain. And then once we clear this out, we create a beautiful channel between yourself and your higher guidance to guide you to the path of true fulfillment. So I'm going to be sharing my screen just to help you understand who this program is for. So you might resonate with this for a bit. If you're feeling stuck in repetitive negative patterns in your finances, relationship, or health, struggling with self-identity, maybe you're feeling disconnected from why did you come here, your true purpose. If you're experiencing constant roadblocks and challenges that really seem to have no clear cause or solution, difficulty understanding why certain relationships or situations seem to repeat over and over and over again, and so much more, as you can see on the screen. The next thing is what we're going to be doing with quantum flow. So with quantum flow is really addressing the situation within your body. If you're constantly struggling with mental fog, difficulty concentrating, difficulty with that's actually affecting your productivity, if you're struggling with chronic anxiety and stress that just feels so overwhelming. And I don't know if you're watching me and this just feels like you, especially again in the world we're living in. This is something quantum flow can really, really help with. If you're feeling physically and emotionally drained, experiencing difficulty controlling your emotions, all the time you find yourself overreacting to situations in a very negative way, that again creates the same cycle of pain and suffering for another person, and so much more. We're going to be addressing this in my spiritual mastery program. If you want to know if this program is a good fit for you, maybe you recognize yourself or you resonate with some of the things that I've highlighted on the screen, and maybe you want to know more details about how this program might be a good fit for you, I'm going to invite you to book a discovery call with me. You can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or go ahead and check out the link in the description box that I'm going to be linking, that you can just click on and book a discovery call. It's a free 15 to 30-minute complimentary call with me, where we're going to be actually determining whether this program will be a good fit for you with whatever you're currently experiencing. I do hope I'm going to get to see you on the other side, because I'm all about really helping you awaken your full potential, especially in the year 2025. Let's not have a repeat of the last couple of years again. Let's make this year the year that you truly bring true growth, true transformation, true healing in your life. So again, if you want to get a spot in this program, do book a discovery call with me. And again, I hope I will see you on the other side. Love and blessings.